In October 2009, a team of 14 MIT students and alumni ventured to Australia to compete in the 2009 World Solar Challenge, the world's longest race of solar-powered vehicles. Racing a car that they designed and built themselves, the MIT Solar Electric Vehicle team came in second in their division for cars using silicon solar panels and fifth overall. Technology Review spoke about the race with team captain Alex Rambula, class of 2012, and with team member Chris Pentakoff, class of 2006, who is currently an engineer at iRobot and was a driver for MIT in the 2003 and 2005 World Solar Challenge races.
In solar car racing, it's all new terrain, and it's a lot more about endurance and adapting to kind of like real world conditions, because you're not on a closed test track, you're on actual roads with other cars, and that can give you a more real effect to it. Like, you can get flat tires and you actually have to pull off the side of the road while other cars are whizzing by you.
The name of the game is really efficiency and reliability are the two key factors that make a winning solar car. So as far as efficiency goes, it's going to be your aeronautical design, it's going to be your solar array that make the difference, and then on the part of reliability, your car, every minute that you waste on the side of the road, it can come down in minutes at the final, coming down to the final lap on the racetrack. I think the most exciting part was on the last full day of racing, we were about 4th place, so we were actually at the top of the silicon class. And Sunswift, which is an Australian team, was about an hour back. And then throughout the day, they just kept creeping closer and creeping closer and creeping closer. And so we finally got into a checkpoint, and we realized that we had a flat tire. And so we had to change that right away, but we couldn't actually do that by rules in the pit stop. So what we had to do is we actually had to pull out of the pit stop by the side of the road and change it right when we got back out of the pit stop. Meanwhile, Sunswift is about maybe 3 or 4 minutes behind us, and they want to pass us up. So we're madly trying to change this tire before they get out of the pit stop and pass us up. So we're all set, ready to go. The car comes out, we do our tire change, and we do it in about 2 minutes flat, and get out on the road. And throughout the rest of the day, they're tailing us for the next 2-3 hours trying to get past us. But those last couple minutes, just changing the tire made the difference in holding them off for another 3-4 hours throughout the day.
You're so caught up in the moment, you don't really have time to celebrate, because all that's on your mind is the pounding adrenaline and just like go, 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 and then you slam on the gas and you take off while the team is right behind you.
Well, as far as bang for your buck goes, MIT is just, you get the absolute most value out of the solar team. We have a budget about 1/10 of that of the top tier teams, but we still managed to perform extremely well and catch up to them in the top tier rankings. So we're really proud of what we can do with the amount of resources that we do have. Most of the vehicles actually built in-house. The electronics were designed by grad students, alumni of the team. The aerodynamic design was done by an undergraduate. And so everything we do is designed in-house, and there's some components that we do have to send out, such as like construction of the molds. The actual construction of the body, that all happens, is done by students, designed by students, all in-house. Which is pretty amazing for a team to do all of that.
Yeah, because like we were saying, we have pretty much 1/10 the budget of some of the bigger teams, which get a lot of their stuff outsourced. So we make up for it largely by our time. So we put in the time to actually design and build our chassis completely, and we do virtually every aspect of making the body, except for outsourcing for the molds. We pretty much build the entire car ourselves.
As an aeronautical engineer, for me, one of the highlights was actually going to the wind tunnel.
It was last January during IAP. We road tripped out to Detroit with the car, and they basically donated an entire day's worth of wind tunnel time, which you may think that's a lot of time, but that's not actually that much time to run a bunch of tests. We got a lot of useful data from that, and from that we were able to optimize basically how the car would perform in various scenarios. If the wind was blowing at a certain angle, or maybe you had a tailwind. So it helped optimize our strategy for the race.
Well, one of the great things about the solar team is that it's across a huge range of disciplines. Students, work in their own field as far as, mechanical engineering, aeronautical engineering, electrical engineering, and so they learn, hands-on skills, applications of this. Getting out of textbook is just not the same, and it'll never be the same. So actually having a hands-on project like that, it gives you the idea of what an actual project takes, and you can't get that in the classroom. As far as the rest of the other side that's not engineering, it goes as far as management and fundraising. Those are skills that are absolutely useful in any discipline that you're going to go into in the future. But you're not taught that, at MIT or any other college if you're in an engineering degree. So those sort of things are something that you'll learn on Solar Team, but not elsewhere.
Also, how to tie them all together, because you may learn a certain topic at MIT, but you don't necessarily know how it integrates with, something else, or like how the electronics fit with the aerodynamics or the chassis. Or
right now, the current plan is to actually have a new car ready by 2011. It's actually a pretty short timeline from now until October 2011 when the race actually occurs. And so, we'll be here this summer, a lot of us working on the next vehicle, and hopefully we'll start construction by about, August. We're looking at some pretty major aerodynamic adjustments to the vehicle. We want to prototype some different ideas as far as the mechanical side goes, which we're pretty excited to try out. But it's definitely going to be the aerodynamic side that makes the difference. We're also investigating possibly getting a gallium arsenide array donated, which would actually make a huge difference in terms of the power output of the array, which would make us a lot more competitive on the field. So, in the next couple months, we'll start seeing how these start shaping up, and by the end of the summer, we'll definitely have a design ready to go and start construction. So we'll be back for WSC 2011 for sure.